In 2015, we saw an alarming occurrence of viral outbreaks. Dengue, aka breakbone fever, West Africa Ebola, the Disneyland measles outbreak, influenza type H3N2, MERS, Middle Eastern Respiratory Syndrome, chikungunya, and now Zika virus threatens to infect over 4 million in the Americas over the next year, while an explosion of Zika virus-related birth defects ravages vulnerable populations with no cure in sight. Is this viral Armageddon, or a new frontier for medical science breakthroughs? Did I freak you out? Sorry, but this is a really serious matter. Today, February 1st, 2016, Dr. Margaret Chan, Director General of the World Health Organization, in an official statement declared Zika virus a global emergency. The epicenter of this raging pandemic is in Brazil. There's been over 1 million cases that have been reported. How did this start? What is the genesis? It's believed that it was brought over to Brazil during the 2014 World Cup. Zika virus is a mosquito-borne illness that's been around for some time. It's been around since 1947, where it was discovered in Uganda, an African country, but it's never created an outbreak of this magnitude up until now. The virus is transmitted when an infected Aedes mosquito bites you. There's an incubation period of 2 to 7 days. An incubation period is simply the time from when you first got bit or infected and the time that you first start seeing symptoms. So you get bit by the mosquito, 2 to 7 days later, you begin to see symptoms. Symptoms that manifest are actually usually pretty mild. They include fever, rash, joint pain, and conjunctivitis, or simply red eyes. These can persist for a few days to a week. 80% of the people who actually contract Zika virus experience no symptoms and therefore would really have no knowledge that they have contracted the Zika virus unless, of course, they had a blood sample done by a pathologist at the CDC. Other than that, 4 out of 5 people don't even know that they're infected. So you got a virus that lasts a week. It causes mild symptoms, including fever, rash, achy joints, and some red eyes. So what's the big deal? Well, the big deal happens when a pregnant woman expecting to be a mother becomes infected with the virus. We are seeing pregnant mothers giving birth to children with a condition called microcephaly. This is a condition where the child has a smaller size skull and brain. Brazil's health ministry just recently said that there have been 4,120 cases of microcephaly in Brazil since October 2015. Usually every year, 100 to 200 cases are seen in Brazil. So we've gone from 100 to 200 cases in a year to 4,120 cases in a few months. And it seems that the direct link is the Zika virus. To interject a direct quote from the Director General of the World Health Organization, Dr. Margaret Chan, she says that there was no definitive proof that Zika virus, which is spread by mosquitoes, is responsible for the birth defects. However, quote, the level of alarm is extremely high. So to be more precise, let's see what the National Institute of Health from the US government has to say. Microcephaly is a condition where a baby's head is much smaller than expected. During pregnancy, a baby's head grows because the baby's brain grows. Microcephaly can occur because a baby's brain has not developed properly during pregnancy or has stopped growing after birth, which results in a smaller head size. Microcephaly could be an isolated condition, meaning that it can occur with no other major birth defects, or it can occur in combination with other major birth defects. To continue on, babies with microcephaly can have a wide range of other problems depending on how severe their microcephaly is. Microcephaly has been linked with the following problems: seizures, developmental delays such as problems with speech or other developmental milestones like sitting, standing, and walking, intellectual disability, decreased ability to learn and function in daily life, problems with movement and balance, feeding problems such as difficulty swallowing, hearing loss, vision problems. These problems, they can range from being mild to severe and are often lifelong. In some cases, these problems can actually be life-threatening. It's difficult to predict at birth what problems a baby will have and what will develop from the microcephaly. Regular follow-ups are much needed. Sometimes, if worked with early, these delays and deficits can be circumvented. The intelligence of the child can be intact. The Zika virus can be spread anywhere where the Aedes mosquito is present. This is usually in tropical or subtropical areas such as the ones we've been discussing: Brazil, Ecuador, Colombia, El Salvador. However, this can also reach into parts of the United States, especially the more southern ones, including Texas and Florida, which can be all-year breeding grounds. There haven't been any cases yet that have been infected in the US. There have been cases where people have come from a travel destination in one of these more subtropical or tropical locations and come back to the United States and presented with the Zika virus. However, there haven't been any cases that have been acquired in the United States quite yet, but that is a real potential threat. According to researchers led by Cameron Kahn of St. Michael's Hospital in Toronto, about 200 million Americans, more than 60% of the US population, live in areas of the country where mosquitoes could spread Zika during warmer months. And as I said, 22.7 million live in humid subtropical parts of the country, including Texas and Florida, which have the potential to spread Zika all year around. A lot of experts have said that this will reach the United States, that's for sure. We just hope that we're prepared to quell those small outbreaks as soon as possible so that it doesn't open up and create a huge outbreak. So where are we at this point as far as trying to discover a treatment? There currently is no vaccine. There's talks of the National Institute of Health looking at two different viable means of creating a vaccine, one of which would be a live attenuated version. Another one, which would probably be more successful, would be a DNA-based approach to the vaccine. So the Brazilian president's chief of staff said that it will take 3 to 5 years to create a vaccine. 3 years if we're lucky. Now, that sounds like a long time. It is a long time, especially when we have all these mothers giving births to children with birth defects with small heads and neurological deficits. If you ask a pharmaceutical company like Sanofi Adventis, they actually have said, well, that would take about 10 or 15 years. So in terms of how the research and development and planning stages go into this, 3 to 5 years is actually a hopeful number. 3 years would be quite a success. Another novel approach to combating this issue is to actually attack the vector. The vector is the organism that transmits disease. In this case, it's the Aedes mosquito. So if we can minimize these mosquitoes, then we can therefore minimize the exposure and infection of those in vulnerable areas. So how do we do this? Simple mosquito control techniques. One of the reasons why the US hasn't had any problems in Florida and Texas is because we have really good mosquito control programs. So the British biotech firm Oxitec, or Oxford Insect Technology, has created quite a novel approach to this pandemic, really. and that is taking the male Aedes mosquito. The Aedes mosquito is the one that's causing the problems in transmitting this virus primarily. So they've taken the male Aedes mosquito, they've genetically modified it so that it goes out into the wild. They release it out into the wild. It mates with a wild female Aedes mosquito, and the offspring gets a part of the gene that has been genetically modified, and then that makes it so that the offspring does not reach adulthood. It dies before it reaches adulthood, and then has the chance to mate with a female and continue the life cycle. So it stops the life cycle at that point. Pretty fancy stuff. In areas where they've done trials, this has actually reduced the mosquito population by 90%, which is pretty impressive. So there's currently a myth or a conspiracy theory that Oxitec, the company that created the genetically modified male Aedes mosquito, actually created it to spread the Zika virus, or if they didn't do it intentionally, it was unintentionally, it unintentionally caused this pandemic. That is, as far as I can tell, has no evidence behind it. It makes no sense. The governments of some of these countries have actually re-upped their contracts with them because they've seen a decrease in the mosquito population in these countries, and it's really the best shot at tackling this threat because we don't have the vaccine. It's going to be years down the pipeline. So what's really the best alternative is to lower that mosquito population. So besides the city things, such as mosquito control with certain sprays and tablets in the water, and they have teams of healthcare or health teams that are actually trying to eliminate the still water areas where these mosquitoes can breed. They don't mind if it's dirty water or clean water, they're going to breed it. They not only breed in the poor slums, but they also breed in the clean water that's hanging out in the high rises in Rio de Janeiro. They don't care. So the question was posed: is this the viral apocalypse, or is this the new frontier of medical science breakthroughs? I think this provides us an opportunity to understand the biology in our world better and to move forward and conquer these threats. We're already seeing amazing human ingenuity. We need to educate ourselves and be prepared for these small little outbreaks that will occur in the US for those US citizens watching this. And if you're traveling abroad into these areas where the Aedes mosquitoes are, make sure that you're wizened up with preventative strategies and things you need to know. Don't be getting pregnant down there, ladies. Don't go down there if you're pregnant. Check out the description. I'm going to list a lot of articles that I researched in order to present this video, and some things that will help you become more educated and prepared. Well, I'd really like to hear your comments on this matter. The Zika virus has a lot of different angles that it can be looked at from. The emotional impact, what this illness is doing to innocent children, pregnant women giving birth to children with this horrendous birth defects, and how that will impact the quality of life of that child and that family. It's just heartbreaking. And then there's the scientific aspect, the medical research that goes into it. Are the ways that they're looking to tackle this appropriate? Do you find them ingenious? Do you find them stupid? You know, what do you think about it? What do you think about traveling now? Are you going to be traveling to the 2016 Olympic Games, or probably sitting on the sidelines at home? You know, what is your thought about all this? And How do you think it's going to impact you in the future? Is this going to grow and spread, or do you think that we're going to be able to tackle it before it becomes a problem that just wages an insufferable amount of damage? Well, thank you for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. I'd love you to become a part of the community here and watch all the future videos. We got some good ones coming up. So thanks again for watching. I will see you in the next video. All right, bye.